Good morning, YouTube. How y'all doing today? All right, people. Let me give you a second to get in here. Let me see. Check my note. Hey, y'all. I'm Marisha Chateau. Shakira and Wild Seed. Good morning. I ain't going to be here for you long. So says the lion preacher. Hi, Connie. Sweet as pie. Miss Sherry. Blue Skies. Blue Skies. I didn't know you were moderator for Wally. I like Wally. Okay, I'm going to jump into this thing. Hi, Janie. Janie. Brignan. You stop, don't start. Is the door open? Okay, the door's open. Looks like the reception's a little better today. People, I'm gonna come in here and talk real quick about the situation that I saw last night with Tasha K. I know she's been in my mouth a lot in the last couple of weeks. That's kind of what happens when you, baby, this is not gonna work. Okay, I can't close the door because I can't get reception. Could you please try to control yourself? No, don't give me the puppy dog eyes. Just control yourself. Keep your ass quiet. If y'all can see that face. Bathroom? Anyway, so Tasha K was interviewing Eddie Long's son. The book is called, I thought I had a story, so I immediately jumped on and I ordered. This is the book cover for Eddie Long's son's book. It's called Son of a Bishop. Right? You see him as a young boy and his dad there. He goes by Ed Long, but it's Ed Long Jr. So I guess a junior would really be Eddie Long Jr., but maybe Eddie's name was actually Ed, whichever. So I immediately took an interest. I said, okay, so now we're going to get to run down the 411. But I don't know how much 411 was going to come out of this because the child he's still a young man. He doesn't look like he's no more than 30 years old. So he probably was the age of this picture here when the scandal came about, right? He was a little kid, ain't no dad coming home and telling their little 10-year-old child about what they're doing in the bedroom with men. Okay. So it started off interesting, the interview with Miss Tasha K. Tasha K turned it all onto herself, the story all into herself about what she was going through and how Eddie Long had helped to save her life, she believed. When she was going through a hard time, when she was homeless, when she realized that her boyfriend was gay, and when she lost her job at Applebee's, and she was in a very difficult time. She was on the verge of suicide, she says, her words and not mine. She said she was suicidal. And she started listening to Eddie Long. And Eddie Long brought her out of that dark place, or helped her to come out of that dark place, right? So she was giving respect to Eddie Long. Now, I've always been of the belief that people came way too hard in this situation. From what I remember, when the scandal broke, that he had been having sex with these younger guys in the church. The in the church piece was probably the most shocking piece. But that was his whole life. We're not going to relitigate the Eddie Long story. But Tasha K turned the thing into herself. All the things that's going on. She made no mention of this lawsuit she's going through, which I'm sure has probably been one of the most traumatic things that's ever happened in her life, as it would be for pretty much any of us. If we were facing somebody $4 million, but the interview took a turn. Okay. Okay. The interview was mostly about Tasha K ministry. When he turned the conversation into something that Jeremiah said 4,000 years ago, I almost instantly lost interest in the book. Now, for religious people who believe in the Bible, who live their life according to principles in the Bible, that's not going to be a big deal for them because he still is in ministry, right? It's kind of what they do. He is certainly a minister's. No one can deny he was raised in the church. He was a bishop's son, right? But when they start talking about giving me quotes about people in the desert thousands of years ago, you know, which they had no personal knowledge of, I usually pretty much lose interest because I'm more interested in what's going on right now in this world, right? But you can expect a certain amount of that anytime you're dealing with religious people. They were buzzing along. He shared some things about what he's going through and how he came to want to write this book and so forth. So if the book is called Son of a Bishop, we expect the book be about his relationship with his father. His relationship with his father at that point he would have been a boy. He would have to have been a boy. How long was that story? How old was that story? Is that like 12 years ago or something like that? He don't look no more than 30. He had to be not even hardly a teenager. Anyway, here's what happened with me with the story though. When she started turning the story down into these denials and saying that he didn't touch those boys, and like she was laying in the bed with him, right? We remember the story. Eddie Long buying these people apartments and buying them cars and all that. He was not doing that to people just in the congregation. I don't give a damn how much money he got. He ain't out there buying Cadillacs for just some random person in the audience, right? So these guys were having these relationships with this down low pastor, in my opinion, right? Now, see, at that time, we were still going through this gay marriage thing, right? Where all they could, any of them could talk about was not to have gay marriage, not to allow those people to marry, right? Keep them in sin so we can talk about them. But they were so down on homosexuality. That was the issue. If he had a relationship with a 20-year-old girl, I don't think it made any difference at all, John. They would have talked about it for a couple of weeks and that would have been it. But no, the most salacious part was that he was having relationships with these young guys, right? Now, later on, after the story got out of control, the guys started denying. They started saying, oh, no sex really happened. It was no sex. Well, the man was gone, you know. No, he wasn't dead at that point. Whatever. After, they got back to their parents and all that, and they had to live with the neighborhood kids and all that kind of stuff. They're trying to back away from the story, right? But they initially came out and said that Eddie Long had seduced them, and he was some kind of, I don't know, some kind of pervert or something, because he seduced these people. I think they were 18 years old. There was no criminal charges brought against him. So they must have to be at least 18 years old, 18, 19 years old. I didn't think at that time, I said, that ain't nothing unusual about that. Successful men, gay men, they have boys. They don't usually just go out and just have other, harems of old men. So I didn't think it was all that, but I know how these religious people took it. Oh my God, he was seducing them. They're perverts. All that old shit, right? I don't know that it even go off as big as now as it do it even 12 years ago. I'm just rushing. Hold on. Let me slow down. Okay, so they came on like Eddie Long was forcing them to take their rent money. He was a villain. I think it was 3 of them came out. One obviously gay. The other ones, I don't know where they're at now in their lives. But people call them trade, even if they are not homosexual. They're working an older guys kicking out money, trips out their ass. They're getting money, trips, cars, apartments, and all this kind of stuff. But all of a sudden, they all switched on him and now turned him into a monster. Right? So I know it's an unpopular opinion, so I didn't make no big thing out of defending Eddie Long because of the position he was in. Even if he were in a corporation, if he were fucking the young people on the job, it would still be wrong, whether they were male or female, right? So we couldn't get too much into that. But generally speaking, he's a down low man. And obviously he was doing something with these boys. He wouldn't be buying them all this shit, right? and they wouldn't have such this salacious story to spill. Why would they be calling them newspapers if all they had to say was, "Well, he was nice. It was inappropriate niceness." Well, she did ask one question. Well, what was inappropriate about it if there was no sex? I think the there was no sex thing came later on, as they were trying to cover their own ass to survive in their own families and their own communities. Right? They came out with the story. I assume trying to get more stuff out of him. It didn't work. It got to be this huge story, and they started switching it up. But Miss Tasha K started talking about how he never did nothing with the boys and how they were lying, and something very offensive to me. She said, and they came from shit. They came from shit. What does that have to do with anything? Are you suggesting that if a person came from shit like you did, Tasha K, that means they're supposed to be abused then? Where's the relevance there? Who gives a goddamn where they came from? Right? Did I remember them, one of them being 17 or something like that? They were all right around 18, 19, maybe even one was 20 when they interviewed them. Anyway, she started trying to really litigate the story now like it never happened. The boys were lying. She called it a conspiracy. And we already went through all that, girl. We went through that for what was it, 3 years, girl? The highest number of videos the highest number of views I've ever gotten on a video. You can check it yourself. You'll see that my highest number, it was from a video I made about Eddie Long. This happened to be when Eddie Long was 6, so that was a couple of years later, right? About his dramatic weight loss, but people were very interested in that story. She's trying to say now that boys were lying. She said they came from shit and they're living in shit now. Like their poverty has something to do with what was right and was wrong in the case. Now, I always felt that the guys were taking advantage of him. I believe, because y'all know I had my season as a 19-year-old boy myself in prostitution. And I know how it would get. You would be with somebody for a while. They would get bored with you or tired of you because basically you're a grown person trying to have a relationship with a person who still has the mind of a child, right? I mean, I was legally adult, but still, they get bored. It's only a physical thing, right? And then when you realize that you're not going to get any more rent paid, or you're not going to get any more cars or any more trips, then now you're angry. That's the impression I got, because it had to build to a place where he's actually paying their rent, right? That suggests relationship to me. I'm not going to molest you and then go and pay your rent for the next couple of years. Anyway, so she's trying to pretend like saying now that nothing ever happened. It was all a conspiracy. Oh, them boys even said there was no sex in the interview. They said there was no sex. They were covering up so they won't have to make himself look better in front of their family. They already done ruined this dude's career, or throw a big monkey wrench in it. And now they want to go back to their normal lives, right? After they got whatever, after they filed whatever lawsuits and got whatever settlements they got. But Tasha K, let me say this to you, honey. We've already tried that case in the court of public opinion, right? I don't think anybody believes that shit never happened. I don't think Eddie Long ever gave any convincing denial. I think he came on there and said, I'm not what they're making me sound like. And I believe that's true. I don't think he was a pervert. I think he was a sugar daddy. That's what he was. I think his wife know it. Their children may possibly have not known that, because I don't know why you would be sharing something like that with your kids, that you're some sugar daddy to some young people in church. But what, y'all think you're going to be supporting 50-year-old men? No, it was never the case. They're always younger, with heterosexual or homosexuals. But for her to sit up here and deny that it ever happened and going after these people because they didn't have anything, they had enough to be supporting that church, apparently. They were certainly in there, right? All these poor people who ain't never had shit and all this kind of stuff, those were the people who were supporting these churches, right? Those are the ones who support these churches right now. And rich folks think they ain't pounding in churches like that. No, it's poor people who need to be built up spiritually, right? Hi, RJ Supreme. Uncle Tim, Tasha K is projecting. She mentioned that she was abused before and how poor she was. Okay, as I was saying, aren't you from shit too, Tasha K? She was also failed by her family, who pretty much blamed her for it. Okay, oh, so she has this past. Plus, she was in relationship with a gay man, so she knows all about the down low. And no, she did not call the man bisexual. She called him a gay man. She ain't gonna know how to say it. So why are you so blind to the download, Tasha K? I mean, everything about that story screamed that that's what the situation was. Perhaps the man still did want to have a wife. Perhaps he still wanted to raise children. Obviously, he still wanted to preach and teach and be the bishop of that major mega church in Atlanta. Obviously, he did do some good. Obviously, he was skilled at what he did. You see, we were going on the premises that the homosexuality was the worst thing on the planet still at that point, right? But to deny it ever even happened, now that the man is dead and gone, let dead dogs lie, Miss Tasha K. We don't need to be bringing and dragging that up. You are putting that guy you're interviewing on the spot. So what's he supposed to say? He don't know about his father's sex life, certainly not his outside sex life outside of the family. I'm sure that the kid thought that his father and his mother were the only ones in relationship. Why would he think anything else, girl? He don't know anything about that. So you're just being salacious and nasty, and you're talking about something, Tasha K, you don't know a damn thing about. You laid up in the bed with a man who was on the down low, correct? Isn't that what you said out of your own mouth? These were your words and not mine. You see what y'all saying? Y'all probably remember as well. It was a big story at the time, but he was never charged with like a crime or anything. It was the morality. But I think the primary thing about the morality is that the man was gay. He didn't know how to deal with it. Yes, he came to marches in support of marriage between a man and a woman and all that kind of stuff like that. That was his position in that church. Yes. So yes, he was a hypocrite. He was a hypocrite because of who he was. Anyway, I just think it's stupid to come on here at this point when this man is long dead and gone and trying to convince people that it all was a conspiracy, that it never happened, and that he was just paying their rent out of charity and buying them cars out of charity and taking them on trips out of the country out of charity, right? Not charity to any of the ugly people, not charity to any of the women folk, charity to these young boys who said initially that he was having sex with them. See, I don't think it's a horrible thing that people have sex with people, honey. Yes, it is wrong, not only in the eyes of God, but in the eyes of people if you were in a relationship. But what do bisexuals do? What do they do? In theory, you will say, well, if I say I'm a bisexual, that just means that I am capable of having sex or falling in love with either sex. That does not necessarily mean that I have to have both. It only means I'm capable of both. I can be attracted to a person, a male or a female, emotionally and physically, right? I understand that. Let me get it right. Hold on. But sometimes when a person, and they've been in a relationship for a while, and they've never really explored that part of themselves, and they have access to all this money and success and people following them and people, I don't know, people holding them in high esteem and all this kind of stuff, and they have access to all this stuff, that will it pop out? And I think that's what happened. It popped out. He started feeling himself that he could do what he wanted to do. Eddie Long, if you were a bisexual, you're on the down low, you should have done that outside of the church. That would be my criticism. But I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like it never happened. It was all made up. Mm-hmm. That's what she was attempting to do. Let me see what y'all lovely darlings saying this morning. Mm-hmm. Hi, Tashana. Okay, let me see. Anyone else have opinion on this stuff? That TK interview is going to cost her big time. There she. Why is she even going there? Is she trying to make him feel better? Because this guy, he's not a kid, but I was looking at his face. He looks very young to me. I said, how old could you have been at that time? You had to be a child. Why are you going to rake all this back over now? What he needs to be doing now is focusing on his career and what he can do. And I thought the story of a bishop's child being raised up in the house before even the scandals began would have been an interesting story. But the moment she started talking about, well, when he started drifting off to religion, I started losing interest. But when she started talking about all this stuff, it never happened. They set him up. It was a conspiracy. They said no sex ever happened. And all this old shit like this. I said, oh, I don't want to hear that shit. And I was really hoping I can get my $10 back. But I said, well, whatever. We'll browse through the book and see. If there isn't really a story there for me to talk about, then I'll come back and review the book. We don't know. Right? But if that's going to be just a bunch of denials, people, we're not interested in the bullshit. I'm not interested. If it's a story about the real events, somebody telling you a real memoir, people are telling you the truth, that is interesting to me. But just to go on here and hear more spin about a story we've been spinning for 15 years, I'm not interested at all. So that last part of it, that turned me off to the whole book situation. So I have not picked it up. Ordinarily, I would have picked it up and read it right then. I'd be finished by now. She jokes about the lawsuit. Okay, keep on laughing, Tasha K. Yeah, she's joking about it now. If you think it's funny now, wait until tonight, girl. You'll be laughing. I don't think so. Uncle Tim, I don't care about Tasha K. Her pride allowed all of these issues to happen. Her pride. She said she done paid $1 million in legal fees. So even if you would have to make $2 million a year in order to keep $1 million, right? So you give up your whole salary. Your whole salary over the last couple of years, Tasha K is gone to paying for lawyers, and you're gonna tell us you're gonna pay some more. You got more money to spend, plus whatever the judgment is. Because if you lost in the original trial, you're more than likely going to lose on the appeal. My belief is that you are going to the appeal to try to appeal for a lowered amount. That's what she's trying to do. She's trying to go from 4 million down to 1 million. She's going to go in that court and plead broke. She needs to let only lawyers talk, because when she gets up there, she's still trying to hold on to her ego, and it is disastrous, right? So she's going to be asking for a lower amount. The judge might say, listen, if you can come up with $1 million immediately, cash. Excuse me. Yeah, get your ass in there. What's the matter? I got him, Daddy. Okay. I'm glad, boy. Stop. Yeah, that pride is going to drag her right into the, and then she thinks she's accomplishing something by delaying giving this woman this money for another year. She said possibly 2 years. She's trying to delay. Well, are you saving the money in that time, Tasha K? Because they might penalize you for making this woman wait so long for her money. And wouldn't that be a bitch? I don't think they were underage, Blue Skies. I don't think so. There might be a possibility that one of them joined the church when he was 17, but nothing actually occurred after that. I believe that these were all young adults, teenagers, when he met them. I believe he was never arrested or charged with a crime. It was a civil suit. People knew Ray Malone had a lot of money. These were poor people, and they might have seen a way, you know how your young ones are, to get some money out of him. Ain't nobody saying it didn't happen, right? Ain't nobody saying that in the eyes of society it was wrong, right? But I know how to work tricks, honey. I mean, girl, I had sugar daddies. Well, they wanted to be sugar daddy. I wasn't with it because I'm not taking orders from nobody, even as a young one. They worked it. They knew he would like boys. There had to be rumored around the church, and they went on and made their move, or allowed him to make his move on them. All this stuff about ritual marriages and all that bullshit. Child, they had sex. But I can't say anything absolute because I don't know anything any more absolute than Tasha K. But I'm not going to sit up here and pretend something that happened didn't happen. To make that young man feel better, you make the young man uncomfortable because all he's doing is smiling. Now he's I think a very handsome guy. He's just smiling now because he's letting her do all the talking, right? Because I'm sure he's probably all talked out of it because basically he didn't know what the hell his dad was doing. I'm sure he was more surprised than any of us were when those allegations came out. And how old was his mind when he tried to deal with that? That would be the interesting conversation. But we'll read through and we'll see. So anyway, let's advertise it. At least advertise the man's book since we're only talking about it. Okay, I'm not sure exactly how long it's been out. The light. Oh. Hold on a minute. Hold on. Let's turn that light off. Y'all can see the cover. It's Eddie Long a young man. That's the little child. But this Eddie, before he got sick, he wasn't an old guy at all. Okay, so that's the son of a bishop, on Amazon, $9.99. If you guys are curious, go check out his story. Hey, cousin. Is snow flurries in Cincinnati? Oh, Lord. Oh, the weather is breaking here. Well, we've had a lot of rain, though. What's going on, Connie, Bernard? I was just thinking, because we went to church this Sunday, and I was in the car listening to the conversation between the fellas, right? And I came to realization again, which I have many times. These guys that go to my church, pretty much almost all of them are church kids. These are all people born up in the church, right? They take it a lot more, church itself. They take it a lot more seriously than I do. It's been a part of their fiber, right? They go to rehearsals 3 and 4 times a week. They still go to every, they're more committed to the church as an institution than I ever was. I didn't become a Christian, a real Christian. Now, if someone asked me all those years, was I a Christian? I said, yeah, because, I'm Black. Hell, we're Christians. But I didn't really become a Christian until I was 42. God delivered me from dope, which I remain deliberate even now. My spiritual experience then at 42 has carried me on to this very day, right? But I was not a church kid, correct? So their way of thinking, they still go back to scripture for a lot of things and things that I don't do because I was raised in a secular world. What did I say that for? Y'all must have led me into something. And a lot of people are raised in the church. I mean, I lived next door to the church when I was a kid, right? So we went in there, but I never considered myself a Christian. I just never thought about it very much. I didn't care enough about it until God changed my life. The personal relationship came along long before it involved the book. Now, the book has told me about the Christ and explained some things to me about why things are the way they are. And while there's still power in the earth, there's still power, spiritual power in the universe, with the ability to change lives and minds. I understood that part. I understood the spiritual part of it. But no, that was never my instruction book. And I see for a lot of my friends, though, they've had a totally different experience. They've got church burn like you wouldn't believe, where they had to come back to something. I was entering into something when they were either returning to it or had always been in it, always been in church, the traditional churches, and being abused. Anyway, so people's experiences are different. Hold on. They went on at the end trying to talk about how the church is not working now. I thought the church was working. Who's in charge of it now? Somebody tell me. I ain't gonna try to challenge this brain of mine. I hope it ain't getting. It goes in and out the brain. I hope the brain ain't getting worse. Wait a minute. Let me go back here. I'm jumping around. Yeah, she might get her little conversation, but as the writer of his memoir, he wants the attention. So he knows by going on to Tasha K's page, then that's going to create some buzz, whether negative or positive. But she could have left that last part out, honey. And as far as he goes, he needs to just tell his story. Listen, if I don't remember any of it, I don't remember any of it. I don't remember any boys coming to the house. I don't remember any of that kind of stuff. I can just tell you what my experience with the scandal was, what that was like. What was it like? Was I taken out of school? Was I kept in school? Were the kids talking about it? And how did that affect me? Because that would be my personal experience, right? But as far as the relationship between these boys, you don't know anything about it, sir. You don't know anything. You would be probably the last person on the planet that was know anything about it. Tasha K certainly don't know anything about it. So why is she talking about it? As if she has evidence, proof evidence. We're not going to try that again, Tasha K. Now, we're glad that Eddie Long helped you, and I'm sure he helped countless thousands of people. I don't think he's a monster because he's bisexual or he was on the down low. That's just my personal feeling about the situation. But I don't know anything about that. So I'm not going to come over here and pretend that I do. Anyway, I visited Baptist church with my sister once, and I promised you the pastor stopped the service in the mid-service and asked, wait a minute. Wait a minute, sweet ass pie. Baby, would you stop, please? It's so hard for your daddy. Where you going? This is from Sweet as Pie. I visited this Baptist church with my sister once, and I promise you the pastor stopped the service in mid-worship and asked that the collection plate be passed around again. Common practice. We had this dude. I was at Love Center. That was the church in that was Walter Hawkins' church. Most of the Hawkinses are not involved in the church anymore. But at that time, it was a popular church. We went there to visit for something. And the guy, whoever the guest preacher was, I don't remember who he was, he get the people all in the frenzy, right? They falling all over the ground. You know how church does. People running around the church and all that. People, you know, the fans of, and then the fans fly off, breaking pieces. People laid out on the ground, all this. And right when they get all of that in that frenzy, he threw up $100 line. And he had them people getting up off the ground, girl, and running down and emptying their purses in the collection plate. I said, if you care anything about poor people, and you had to come out of them. I mean, we weren't born with silver spoons, no matter how they make it sound. Right? Do you care that little about those people? One guy, he asked me for he needed enough money to get across this is a person who does well. He had a very good job and all that kind of stuff. But he had basically put all of his money into the collection plate. He didn't have enough money to get on the toll bridge to get back to San Francisco. Girl. So Sweet as Pie, yes, it is a money operation. It's sad to think that church has become such a vocation, right? I mean, these pastors, they make good money. These mega pastors, they make good money. Yeah, they do some good work, but I mean, really, you go over and talk for 30 minutes, girl, I got to give you 10% of my income? Whatever. Don't get me on that. My church be asking to help pay the heating bill for their school, yet they get money to heat the school, right? And then they get grants as well, and they don't pay no taxes as well. It really makes me just like going to Yep, we all got a lot of issues with the church folks and the church people. Thanks, yeah. But I guess the kid, what's his name, Ed Long, he was actually wanting to be still a part of the church his father founded and built, right? And they have now told him they didn't need his services at all. So there's a lot of resentment there as far as the family no longer being a part of their church. The guy who's in there now, what's his name? Y'all tell me. I know you know. Who is in charge of New Birth now? They wouldn't say his name. I know the name. It just frustrates me so much. I know the guy's name. The popular preacher out of was he out of Baltimore? The pastor now at New Birth is, come on, Gammons Carter, Jamal Bryant. Okay. Well, from what I understood, Jamal Bryant brought the church back. Right? So why they over talking about how bad the church is doing? I guess she just want to she got her nose up his ass because she feel like he needs that. That's not what he needs, honey. He needs to deal with the truth. Yes, the man, they did find somebody who brought that church back. It seems to me that Jamal Bryant has done a good job at New Birth. It is unfortunate that he couldn't take his, more than likely, the son felt like he should be the pastor of the church. And I think that's where they got in problems. So I think he was one of the people that was briefly considered, and he resented when they brought somebody from outside, and eventually they just didn't want him to be there at all. Right. So hopefully this book talks about some of that stuff. That stuff will be interesting. I'm interested in anything that is the truth. If it's bullshit, I don't want to hear it. They talk shit about me because I wrote Meth Monster. They think they read me right. Baby, I told what is my truth. Now, whether you agree with my truth or not, it is not important to me. Because I told it was my book, my story. I could have easily left out all of the part about meth and dumpster diving and prostitution and needles and getting high and all that shit. But then would I have a book called Meth Monster? I don't think I'd have it. I don't think I have anything there, girl. Who gonna sit around and just read about a dude on Social Security? Whatever. My opinion. What else y'all say? Let me see. Let me get back to where I was. Sweetest pie. So lovely one, you're ministering to Sweetest Pie, so she won't feel alone. Catholic churches got $3 billion due to the pandemic, and they're still passing the plate 2 times every Sunday. Oh, Lord. Do the Catholics just pass the plate? I always thought of them as being the corporate people. Of course, they get all that mafia money, too. Or whatever, honey. You know, churches have to have money to operate, we know. But I think that money is very addictive. When they start getting it, money never says, okay, that's enough money now. I have enough. No, it always wants more. More, more, more. How do you like it? More, more, more. That's how I like it, honey. It's like when you give your dog treats, girl, they always want more. It's always want more. They always in there with puppy guy. They always want more. And then so it becomes a game of just getting money. How do I get people excited? How do I get money out of people? And then people for years and years got so excited about this homosexual issue, which appears in 4 or 5 lines through the whole 2,000 pages. They got so excited about that because what? They put them on a higher plane than other people. Here's something I can cheer about. Finally, they found something. Lisa ain't gay. God is within me. I'd rather stay at home. He sure is a good God too. I just don't believe in getting so wrapped up in other people's testimonies, which you have now made into idol. You made someone else's testimony your idol. You worship what their testimony was thousands of years ago. That didn't even make any sense. What? My phone going. God is alive, honey. He's not dead. He's yet alive. Have your own testimony. Baby, what you excuse me, people. I have to go and get rid of my child. Raise and eat cheer. Come on here. Your little ring, 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 the ding, ding. Okay, give me. Get it, mama here. Gotta go to the bathroom. Maybe put a toy in there for you. I put a toy. You don't want to be long, baby. It won't be long. Yeah. I'm gonna give you a toy. I had to get the baby some toys, doggy treat, another doggy to play with. To lock him in the bathroom. Hey, the reception is coming pretty good today, right? I gotta stop being so impulsive. Start pushing on buttons and stuff. When apparently the damn computer is working fine now. And you know what I did this morning? I don't know why I can't remember this. I just reset the damn router, unplugged it for 10 minutes, and I plugged it back up. Is that what did it? I don't know. Hey, Charles Dodson. Tasha K is only being interested in being salacious, controversial, and the so-called GOAT of celebrity gossip, blogging. Okay. Her ego drives her decision making most. She thinks she can reignite that story of Eddie Long again. Is that what she's thinking? Is that why she on there talking this shit about, oh, he didn't do nothing? It was a conspiracy. The boys said they never had sex. He never had sex with nobody then, huh? Are we going back to that, Tasha K? Maybe she feel like she can crank that one back up because she said out of her own mouth yesterday that that was her biggest story, that her career took off with the Eddie Long story. I know I got my highest numbers with the Eddie Long story. So is she trying to draw that back out now and turn that into something where she can talk about it and blog about it and talk whatever? You were doing okay in the beginning, Tasha K. A bit of humbleness goes a long way. Mm-hmm. Thank you, face wash, Pecker face wash. What the fuck? Pecker face wash, you gotta get you another name, honey. Are y'all talking about Sean Bradley? No, we're talking about Tasha K. Baby, Tasha K been on the run for the last couple of weeks. All that, she ain't said nothing about that current situation she's in. She's pouring her whole guts out with Ed Long. How you pouring your whole guts out to this man about you being suicidal, about you being homeless, about you living outside or something, and all this stuff you told about yourself, but you ain't said nothing about the current situation where you were faced with paying this woman $4 million, an amount that could break your home life, have you back in an apartment. It could ruin your whole goddamn all the accomplishments you've had. You ain't said no, not a word about that. Well, that's what you should be talking about. You can't say you got a gag order. You can't talk about the case because you've been talking running your mouth about it, right? More than likely, you don't know what to say about it. Was it a good book? No, I haven't read it. That's what I was doing. I haven't read it yet. I ordered it last night. As soon as I heard her talking about it, I said, well, let me go and order it. You know, books don't cost that much. You can do that, you know. Let's see what this you got a long preference. Okay, we're gonna read off the contents in case y'all interested. Maybe something here will grab your attention. The introduction, homecoming, okay. Secure the bag. Wait a minute. Hold on. The third chapter is called Secure the Bag. Next chapter, 6, Sex Ed. Sex with a capital ED, which, you know, has to be talked about. Houston, we have a problem. Next one, boom. Next one, more with less. Parental advisory. What kind of son are you? So he might drift off into preaching in this thing too. Young dirty bishop. The burden of the building. People are people. One more rep. The call. Who's your daddy? And the outro. Well, you ain't got to be the best picker of titles. We'll see. We'll see. I can tell within the first few pages if it's bullshit or not. Mm-hmm. Let me see what else she's saying. Oh, hello there, Gamage Carter. Coasting on fumes today. That's right. We can have nice conversation every once in a while. We ain't got to be reading all the time, girl. I watched that bullshit last night too. What's that shit on Zeus? The Bad Boys of LA. They took one silly little scene. You know, I don't know how I feel about that either. I mean, Kirk Franklin is a respected person in American society, right? He is huge in the gospel music industry. He is a celebrity, right? This guy, Carry On, is not doing anything to deserve the way these fools are treating him on there, right? So he got this I guess Big Daddy. Who is Big Daddy? He's Milan, what's his name? The Milan boy, the porn boy. Y'all know him. I ain't gonna try. The Milan dude, the one that did the porn movie, well, he starts off the episode with bringing out a box of his rubber cast of his dick, and they pass it out. I got the pussies and the dicks and all these sex toys. I guess he makes a living in selling sex toys of his penis. He passing all that kind of stuff out, right? So the controversy now is he seems to want to be the boss. He think he paid the cost to be the boss. Look at him. You know what you see? You see a bad mother. He paid the cost. He wants to be running everything, right? But he is the way he's talking to Carry On Franklin. I mean, Carry On's trying to stick up for himself and everything. Nobody wants to be talked down to like that. But why is he talking about that guy like that? You don't have no right to be talking to him that way. I mean, just the most nasty, disgusting things you can think of saying to a person. You're saying to this guy, Carry On Franklin, who you say you were defending in the beginning. So basically, you just want to be in the spotlight, right? And yeah, I believe a lot of this reality shit is scripted. Correct. They're allowing him to do this. But he just started attacking his Carry On Franklin. They're supposed to be going there to do some damn video. They're supposed to be making some music rap thing. That could have all been done 5 minutes of the thing, right? No, they make it a whole hour. All in the studio. They ain't got nothing to do in the studio except to make this record and for him to be cussing out Carry On Franklin. In my opinion, if for no other reason, out of respect to Kirk Franklin, if the man ain't did anything to you, why are you attacking him? All the kid. When you get to be 64, everybody's a kid, basically. Anyway, these guys are in the 30s. But the man has not done anything to you. Why are you turning around and then attacking him and threatening him and holding up bottles like you're going to crack bottles over his head? Right? Now, you are the big man. You're the muscle man, right? But you say your toe hurt or something. Oh, my leg hurt. So I'm going to have to hit you in the head with this vodka bottle. Zeus, let me tell you this. Can't you make a show without everybody being high and drunk? They are all hookahing, honey. They drinking on every damn scene. Why can't you just do a damn show, child? Why can't you ban alcohol on the set? So we ain't got to have all this. Maybe you can actually have a conversation because so far, Zeus, your reality show isn't about anything. There are no themes. There definitely no script, but there's not even a theme there. Not even discussion there. There's not even you sitting in around a room and discussing things. You're not discussing anything, girl. You're just walking around, seeing who's gonna fight. So no, we were not going to get a episode where people were not fighting, right? We kept saying somebody, I guess that was the owner kept coming out and saying, no fighting this time, no fighting. Didn't seem very convincing to me. But I would just say, listen, if somebody who I admire, let's say Taraji P. Henson had a child and I was doing a project with Taraji P. Henson's son, unless he's done something to me to attack me, I would not be on here calling Taraji P. Henson's son all of these filthy, nasty, disgusting names, challenging him and threatening to bust bottles over his head. I just out of respect for her. If nothing else, if I don't know him. Anyway, he's getting to be a bit too much now. Milan, God damn it, I almost had it. Is it Treasure? No, that's our Milan Treasure is ours. Milan Christopher is his name. He specializes in dildos, blow up pussies. He had things to wrap around your balls and all these. He had candy delights. So he gonna advertise his product. And then I'm just talking for 1 minute on that stupid ass show. And then they had the one where the money reside, where the money reside. She's so stupid. So she's sitting up there the whole time they're in this studio trying to record his record. I don't want to be bothered with it. Why am I here? I can't stand no stupid nigga like that. You're on television. If you're all in the studio to make this damn record, can't you just say, girl, can I hold the mic for you or something? I can hum in the background or look like I'm lip singing, or I could do something, girl. We don't want to, nobody cares about you. You're not interested, girl. You're on television. You're there for our entertainment. I don't want to be bothered with it. And she sits over on the couch behind everybody. One has to ask, who did this vetting? Who did this vetting for these participants? Sweet as pie, I'd rather send you the money instead of investing in that book. I guess people who are in, he'll probably be a popular book for people who are in new birth, who know this kid from being a kid in the church kind of thing. They might be interested in that. But the salacious way that Tasha K is going about it, I would say, no, Tasha K. Get your story somewhere else, child. I came on here to promote my book. Can we talk about my book? Okay. I know you were sleeping outside, girl. But really, I came here to promote this book. Okay. So we don't know if it's a good book or not. Well, I'll let you know about it tomorrow. I'll just if it doesn't draw me in, because I've had it very hard to sit there and read books if they're not holding my kind of force your way through. I don't want to do that, right? Because then you talk about it for 10 minutes over with anyway. So if it is something interesting there worth discussing, then I'll come back and review the book. If not, then he'll find the audience. He seems to be an intelligent guy, though. Eddie Long's son, Ed Long. He seems personable. He bought her a nice gift. Nice looking guy. I guess he's about to have a new baby. No, I wasn't opposed to him until she started that bullshit at the end about how his father didn't do it. He didn't do anything. They were all lying, and they came from shit, and they were returned to shit. And so did you, Tasha K. So is that $4 million going to return you to shit? Why don't you worry about that? Mm-hmm. Egyptian goddess. Hi, Egyptian goddess. My new moderator. Mm-hmm. Reception is good. Okay, I'm glad that disaster is over. Look, see how I make things a big old deal, though? God damn, somewhere it was blurry a couple of days, But it may have been just that restarting the because my nephew lived with me when he first came to California. He stayed here for about 7 months, and he had this whole gaming thing set up in this room. And sometimes he would come in my bedroom and say, I need to restart the router. Because, they get that fast stuff and all that stuff. And it came back to me this morning. I said, oh, remember when he said restart? And all he did was unplug it. So that might have been it. It might be enough. I don't know. If it's working, don't fix it. How about that? Don't F with it. Milan Christopher. Mm-hmm. He gonna get his 15 minutes, baby. Y'all gonna remember me. Then they're all going back and forth. Nobody ever heard of you. Who are you? They sound like they're Facebook. I mean, YouTubers. I never heard of you before the show. Well, basically, we ain't never heard neither one of y'all, child. Right? We ain't never. Milan Christopher, I don't know. Is he supposed to be a rapper? I mean, his rap was, they're all about the same, right? They all did. I mean, rap is rap. Rap is just talking fast, right? And it's only about a line or a sentence. But he, in his mind, he's a big star. Now, for me, let me speak to Milan Christopher for a minute. Maybe I'll get an email out of it or a disparaging comment. Milan Christopher, if you're supposed to be this sex goddess and you having blow-ups made of your penis and selling them, and you're supposed to be a star, right? You are a star. You said the necklace around your neck is cost $7,000 and all this. If it's real diamonds, would it cost 7,000? Wouldn't be a lot more than that anyway. Brother, what I need you to do is take all them decorations off. I'm serious. I just got to say it. If you're supposed to be promoting that you are some kind of sex goddess or god, could you take off all the earrings and bracelets and necklaces and purses? And you always got a woman's purse on you. I don't know if they call it a woman's purse, but all this stuff, that distracts from your masculinity. You have dangling things all over you and bangle beads, rings on every finger, and all this shit, girl. That is not sexy, right? If that's what you're promoting, if this is what your products are based on sex, we want to see a male as a masculine, because you're trying to present that you're a masculine man. We don't need big signs going all the way across your chest and all that kind of shit, girl. All that stuff is distracting from what you really want to promote, which is your body, right? I mean, you are the one that walk around in your panties. So you want us to see your body. If you would take off all that adornment, we would be able to appreciate if you have anything else to offer. Whatever. It just looks cheap and silly to me. But he's a fashion icon, he said. And the money resides. She just want to walk up and down the aisle. Cause where the money resides, just say it, baby. You ain't got no goddamn talent. That's why the only reason we know who you are is because you got out of a trunk doing a little jingle about where the money resides, where the money resides. I don't know what that was all about. Were you a car salesman? Or did they put you up for that because you were so gay or so drunk? I don't know. Ain't none of y'all need to be on here acting like y'all the big stars. But I thought it was wrong the way they treated that young Franklin guy. All he said was, listen, I made records. I work in the studio all the time. I could hook this up with YouTube. Oh, I don't want to hook up nothing up with YouTube. I don't. How do you know? What do you mean? Damn near half the celebrities out there are using YouTube, right? You don't know anything about it. At least this dude knows has worked with music for his entire life. I mean, his father is a major star in the music industry, and a lot of times not even singing. He's a major producer, but he don't want to hear that. But you all this about punching on that man and stuff like that, hey, it's so wrong. You're gonna go down in infamy, not famous, honey. Until you can dance or sing or act or do something else besides making dildos of your dick. Stands for rhythm and poetry. Okay. Yeah, I didn't think any one of them were any better than the other one, really. I mean, they all did their sentence. Highest selling music in general has been. Yeah, it is the highest selling. Yeah, we're not hating on the industry. We're talking about these 4 people who participated in this rap song. I'm just saying I don't think any one of them were any better than any of the other ones. That's not to say that they weren't all good or adequate or decent. I mean, the song, it wasn't mixed or anything, right? The producer guy said he had to leave. So I said, damn, you making a television show and you got to have other appointments after the television. Shouldn't you finish the television show first? So we don't know what the finished product is going to sound like. But number 1 is not better than number 2, or not significantly. At least I didn't see it. Okay. The MFing goings with Yamain. Yeah, they took over the whole music industry. I admire it. I'm writing about it right now. My main characters in my novel that I'm working on right now, which I will be writing on today, they're rappers. They're 3 rappers. I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's what they're doing right now. Rap, hip hop, they're very big right now. It's great. My era, people actually sang though, so singing had more value then. But that don't mean it won't come back. People start singing ballads again or whatever. We don't know. Mm-mm. Rock and roll used to be king. Don't need to take me to a disco. You never even get me out on the floor. In 10 minutes, I'll be ready to go. Start playing old time rock and roll. Still like that old time rock and roll. That kind of music just soothes my soul. I reminisce about the days of old and that old time rock and roll. Play with me. You better go on somewhere, MFs. They'll be doing something else in the next generation, child. You can rest assured of it. Mm-mm. Okay, so the content creators are talking about the 2 reality shows. Oh, and let's not forget Tasha K. Well, actually, Zeus is really playing their hand well because it's a little known app, right? But now it seems like they're getting more than their share of people reviewing or talking about these shows on her on there. Both the LA, I mean the Bad Boys series, and also this Jocelyn's Cabaret, where apparently now they're promoting the reunion for the Jocelyn Cabaret, where basically all they do is fight and kick and scratch each other and shit, like pull each other's wigs out, and now add to that sue each other, right? So this guy Lemmy, he's getting what he wants. He wants promotion, advertisement. I had never heard of Zeus before I heard of these shows, so it's working, right? Lemmy, we can't give you as much credit as I initially gave you about credit. I said, well, this guy is young. He didn't sold he sold the scripts to BET at what was it, age 21, something like that. And then he's doing a remarkable thing by having his own network, right? But when I heard you interviewed Lemmy, it appears that your parents were well into the business. I mean, they had, you say they produced many. You didn't say they produced 1 or 2 gospel shows. You said many. So they were already in the business. Both your mother and your father were already in the business. So they basically they just gave you that. You wouldn't be writing scripts, or you wouldn't have them submitted. No one would see them if your parents were already known in the business, right? So well, we ain't saying it's a horrible thing. Take it on to the next level. But you might want to sit down and figure out where you want this show to go, because sitting up in that studio for a whole hour just making up an argument is silly. It's ridiculous. Yes, I was talking about Bishop Eddie Long book, his son's book. I was impressed with the young man, but I just have a hard time when people start talking about what Abraham said and all this kind of stuff. Child. Least I could do is promote his book since I'm on here talking about it. Eddie Long's son, Ed Long Jr., has written a memoir. I guess you could call it a memoir. It's a small book, same size as Meth Monster. But when you're telling a true story, I don't think it's got to be no great big old volume, unless you've done a lot of great big old volume type things. We'll read it. We'll see. Mm-hmm. Unk has come a long way from his previous life. We have to give him credit. Oh, yeah, sweet. Uh-huh. Been such a long time. Just don't sing. Oh, some of the ladies be saying, "Oh, another song." It just tickles me, child. Right, right. Uh, okay. Something tells me the MF and goings on with Yamin that you have an interest in this music industry because you are really, really laying it down for the music industry, for the hip hop industry. They called it a fad years ago. I think they were mistaken. Yeah, we remember the days, baby. Hip hop, hippie to the hippie, the hip hop, the boogie, and don't stop, the tookie, don't bang bang, and do the bang bang. Yes, we remember, honey. That was the beginning. There were some false starts as well. Marvin Gaye doing did Trouble Man. That was a straight rap, but it caught on somehow or other. Who were the first ones? Dr. Dre and Pac and them became superstars. Snoop Doggy Dogg is still around. I used to like that Too Short Baby. I'm too short, baby. That's the fact. Invasion of the flat booty bitches. I don't know nothing about no Too Short, but I remember that title to the song. Yay, emerging out of the bushes. Go ahead and enjoy your season, man. Enjoy your, because when you get to be my age, you're still going to be talking about the same music, more than likely. That's what usually happens. It has an influence on you when you're younger, and it stays with you. Hi, Surfing Tangents. 2. Y'all go ahead and have yourself a wonderful we're off to another Monday. I got to go and get some blood work because before you go to your doctor, your quarterly doctor, you got to get all your blood work, and I've learned that you got to do all your blood tests and all that stuff before you see him, so you have something to talk about. If there's a problem, it's going to come out in your blood work. And that's the only way they found out I had cancer. So we stay on top of that kind of stuff. I got to go over here to the doctor. Call the doctor. I can't even act. Okay, this will be the benediction. This is Mr. MF and goings on with Yamin. This is Mr. Yamin. I can't imagine life without music. I think it's a gift to us from the universe since we all governed by rhythms. I'm obsessed with music. Oh, you're correct. And I assume that you're a younger person because then music is everything then. Right? So that'll be our benediction. Y'all have a good Monday, and we'll talk to you later. If we find something interesting in the book, we'll certainly come back and review it. Later, people.